All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Coffee Q&A, your daily coffee question, answers, fix. How y'all doing? Welcome back to the show. I'm Jay, and this is the Pegasus dripper from Hario. And it is, I don't know if it's a new dripper or old dripper, but it's a new to me dripper, so that's exciting. So this is the Pegasus. I got this on Amazon Japan. Because Amazon Japan is shipping to the United States, and it's really great. So this is available on Hario USA. You can buy it directly from them. This at Hario USA. This is the O1 dripper. It is available for $10 US. Not a bad price, really great price. But if you buy it from Amazon Japan, it then will cost, well, it cost me 449 yen. Now, years ago, before the pandemic, when I would be in Japan, I would be buying stuff, I would use the simple metric of 100 yen is more or less equivalent to $1 US, because the exchange rate was such that it was at that rate. How are you doing today, Mom? Good to see you. Welcome back to the show. So back then, it was, the 449 yen would be about $4.50, which is, a pretty good price. Less than half of what we're paying for now. Now, with the exchange rate being about 150 yen to the dollar, this is actually just under $3. So it's like $3, crazy. Now, of course, if you're buying stuff from Japan, it's got to be shipped here. Like Amazon Japan is not giving me free shipping. Like I don't know if I had Amazon Prime in Japan if they would give me free shipping, but. And then Amazon America will give you, if you spend minimum $35, they'll give you free shipping, but you have to wait 3 to 5 days. It's not going to be immediate, which for me is perfect. I don't want to spend the money on Prime. I'm happy to wait a couple of days for my products. Nothing I buy on Amazon is critical to my mission. So this one, I bought a whole bunch of stuff. I bought 7 items. I bought a couple different brewers. I mean, it's like 3 or 4 different brewers. Some filters. I bought a big iron kettle. So total shipping for the entire order is about $38. So not terribly cheap per se, but I mean, it's coming from the other side of the planet, so it's not terrible. Good morning, Rusty. How are you, man? Good to see you. So let's have a look at the Pegasus. The Pegasus is this is the O1 dripper. So this is the really small one, probably a great size for travel, just for one person. It says for 1 to 2 cups. I don't know what the total volume is here. And then, they've got it says here, the spiral ribs. There's a scale. So if you want to ratio it out, you can somehow. Handle. And there's a peephole. So you can see down below into your cup what's what. And then here, of course, a little graphic. And then a little bit more with directions on how to prepare your filters, like with the folding, as well as the pouring and whatnot. So let's get into it and see what is in the box. And it's fairly simple. So there it is. Just that's in the box, right? Perfectly lovely. Now, again, this is the O1 dripper. Probably the thing that I have that's closest to that would be this this switch. This switch is, of course, the V60 style, not the Pegasus style. The Pegasus shares some level of swirly ribs. So like on the switch and the V60 that has this one has the long ribs as well as the short rib, right? So that's kind of similar, but the difference is that it's a wedge shape. This is a wedge shape that is actually more akin to the bee house, right? In wedge. Although the bee house, of course, as you can see, has straight ribbing, right? Where this has curved ribbing. So it all depends on what kind of ribbing that you prefer for your brewing pleasure. Straight or curved, might give you a little bit more feeling on the brew. But you can see here 2 holes, two orifices in the bottom of the wedge, very similar to this one, 2 orifices as well. And there is a little peephole, like they said, there's a peephole here. There's a little cutout. You can see that cutout there. Again, similar to the bee house has that peephole. I would say the advantage here is that the peephole proportionally is bigger on the Pegasus rather than the bee house. The bee house is nice, but what I've noticed is when we were using this in the cafes is that you can kind of see it at the right angle, but it's not terribly easy. You know, what can you do? What can you do? But the what else do we need to know here? The so there's the thing here. Oh, they have so at the viewport, right? You can see here there's a little bit of there's a shielding here, but there's no shielding on the viewport side. So does that really make a big difference? I don't know. And then when we're talking about the measurement, here's one. You can see it here. Can you see that there? One. There's a little scoop. 1, 2. So if you want to pour using this as a visual reference, you can see, okay, there's the 1 cup and then there's the 2 cup. So they try to make it fairly simple. And then, of course, on this side, oh, it's also on this side as well. You can see this, but this other side actually has, you can see the Hario name right here, right? Where it's not here. Generic, branded. Not bad, not bad. I mean, it's nice. It's nice and small. Now, I don't know if it's, I mean, I guess it feels fairly like robust. So if you were just to toss this in a bag, like you wanted to travel with it, just toss it in a bag, it should be fairly fine to travel with. Maybe you might want to wrap it like in a t-shirt or something just to give it a little bit of cushioning. Then I also got the filters. And so these are the Hario matching Pegasus paper filters. You don't necessarily want to use the conical filters, though you could fold them in a way that would work. These are better, or you could just get the Melita number 4s. If you have Melita number 4s, just, you know, again, just like we do at the bee house, we just fold them and make them fit. And I'm sure that will work here, even though the ribbing, it looks about the same, right? It looks about the same for the size. George's with us. What's going on? I love the small size. Is it lighter weight traveled? Yes, very much lighter weight. In fact, let's just see how much lighter weight it is. Let's compare this to the, oh, you know, I'm going to get something else we can compare it with while we wait for that. Somewhere here, I do have another brewer that I think would be a great comparison now that I think about it. Yeah, here we go. This is good. We're going to compare it to the Kalita Tall, which is another brew we've used here on the show. This is the Kalita Cafe Tall, another really ideal brewer for travel. So we're going to start with that one. So this one, wedge shape as well. 3 holes instead of the 2, right? But let's see how much that weighs. 49 grams. Now let's compare that to the bee house. 373, a whopping 373 grams. Now, one more thing let's compare it to. Let's compare it to yesterday's Sweeren, 134. So a little bit lighter with the Sweeren. And the nice thing about the Sweeren, if you really want to have a full-size brewer, this will also, you know, come apart so that you can compact it down. Right? So you can take it apart and mix and match or whatever you want to do. But then now let's have a look at our Pegasus. 54. I mean, 54, 31, right? Or 49. Oh, no, 49. 49, 54. Dare I say that this is a little bit more stylish than the Kalita? And here's the thing. So the Kalita is kind of nice. And you put it on the top of your glass, right? You got a mug or something. You put it there. And it kind of has this, it has these little tabs here. And this will hold it kind of in place. It moves around. But it kind of moves around, but you know, okay. So I'm thinking that the little picture hole here, not as big, a little bit hard to see when you're using like an opaque mug, like you're at a hotel. It's not so easy to see inside. Whereas I think this one probably will be a little bit easier because it's transparent. Right? Maybe that's something to consider. Plus, I do feel like this has a little more wobbliness to it when you're using it in the field. So just some things to consider if you're thinking about, you know, using something that is for, what do you call it? For travel, right? All right, let us put these things aside and let's get our coffee together. So today's coffee we're going to brew on the Pegasus is, let's see, what shall we use? Let's do this Milfoco Wash Typica. Did we use this yesterday? I think we used this yesterday. This is, again, a coffee from the region 12 in the southern part of the Philippines. Milfoco is a co-op, and this is their washed Typica coffee. We're going to... Kione, aloha to you, man. Early morning in Hawaii. Good to see you. Good to see you back in the islands, back home. I hope you're having a good time there. The last time I was in Honolulu, we went to a place called Ali'i Coffee in right on Beretania Street. Nice little shop. Very nice people. Of course, then around the corner is on 4th Street Mall is the Downtown Coffee. Really nice guy that runs that place. Actually, I remember years ago when I first met him, we went there on a weekend, and he had his little tiny Diedrich roaster. He rolls it out on the 4th Street Mall and like roasts outside because there's nobody there on the weekends and no one that he can bother with the roasting. Really great guy. And then went to a couple other places. Went to a place that's in Kaka'ako. I can't remember what the name of the place is offhand. But, we're kind of in that new development, really close to Ala Moana Boulevard. And then where else? We went to another place that was in I think it's in a climbing gym on Queen Street, tucked in that real industrial area. That was pretty good. And then, of course, we went up to Kaimuki to a place called, what is the name of it? I can't remember the name of the place, but it's a place in Kaimuki, not Coffee Talk, but down the street from Coffee Talk. Actually, there's two places. There's this one place that used to be in there used to be this barbershop. It's like an old 1960s kind of deco strip mall that has these things. Really cute shop tucked under the staircase. That was really cute. I really enjoyed going to visit that place. And then the other place is down the street on Violet Avenue, a little bit more, but I can't remember the name. I can't remember the names of any of these places. It's terrible. Michael, to you, good morning to you as well. And then George is asking, what is the name of the yellow job? The yellow job is called the Kalita Cafe Tall. So the Cafe Tall, Kalita Cafe Tall. I don't know what availability really is like on this here in America. I think it's a little bit more difficult to get. This was actually gifted to me by one of my friends, Raymond So, in the Philippines. He's a Kalita dealer distributor for the Philippines. A good buddy of mine, and he was like, one year, I got this probably like 6-7 years ago, and he's like, hey man, try this out. And I was like, oh, thanks man, I appreciate it. And it's been a fun little tool. It's like nice, it's compact, really small. Like it is, somewhat more compact. Somewhat. I don't know if it really is. It's probably 6 of one, half dozen of the other as far as compactability for travel. I don't know. All right, so let's get this. Okay, so we've got, put that aside, put this aside. Oh, we've got to go back to our filters. We've got our Pegasus filter. So now these, if we go to Hario USA and we look at their filters, I think these are $8.50. For $8.50, I paid on Amazon Japan less than $2. So I mean, had I bought this setup on Hario USA, it would have been $8.50 for this, $10 for this, $18.50. Plus, I'm going to presume they're going to charge me shipping. So now, of course, on Amazon, I spent $138 total for everything. So it's not going to be the cheapest way, but I mean, it might be especially if you're buying a bunch of stuff. Like if you want to buy a bunch of stuff in Japan, it's right now the exchange rates are really good. So you're like, pretty good. So the filters, they're basic filters. I don't, people always talk about what is the difference with filters. I don't know what the difference is. There's people have all kinds of stuff that they say is so different. To me, the biggest difference between filters is bleached and unbleached, like the browns and the whites. Don't go with the browns. The browns just, You could use the browns. Like I have a whole bunch of brown filters upstairs in the kitchen that I use because I bought them back in the 90s and they've never used them. They're like this. They're like Melita number 2s. And the problem with those is that you have to rinse them. Otherwise, you're going to have the paper taste. And here's the best way to try it. If you want to try it, I do have a video on the channel where we did a big battery of testing about 3 years ago with different filters. And this is why I came up with it. And this is also why you never see me rinsing filters, because there was no advantage from a beverage preparation perspective to rinsing the filters, because there's no flavor. On bleach filters, there's no flavor to get rid of. So why are you rinsing? It's wasting your time. The only advantage of rinsing the filters or rinsing is wetting them, so that in case you need them to stick because you're in a windy environment or whatever's happening, then you want it to stick. And so then I may wet it. Like for example, I'll sometimes wet the AirPress filters because I'm using the inverted method. And as I turn over the what do you call it? The locking mechanism, I don't want the filter to fall out. That's really it. But if you use the brown filters, try it yourself. Take a cup, right? Put the filter in it. Just shove it in there. Just put it like that, right? Hit it with the hot water. Let it steep for 3-4 minutes. Taste the water. See if you can taste the difference. If not, then I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy. But maybe you will, and you will think that I am like some sort of like professional in the business who's psychotic because he doesn't want to tear things open. He has to cut them. All right, let's have a look. How much is shipping? The shipping was definitely more expensive. Like, for example, let's see here. What did they charge me for shipping? I've got my little Amazon thing open. Oh, I've got the receipt. So let's see here. Here's the receipt from my order. My subtotal was 5,511 yen. Shipping and handling was almost the same amount, 4,105. Right? They did give me a little 97 yen discount. So my total order was 9,500. Why does it say 20,000 yen? What's going on here? Let me look at my. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. This is more. This is actually from the website. So here you can see here, $94.96 was my subtotal. $39 was the shipping. Oh yeah, so not bad. $133 with a 59-cent discount for the promotions. So what did I buy? I bought a Hario. I bought the Mugen, which we're going to do. I bought the Mugen, which we're going to do tomorrow. That's 688 yen. I bought the Pegasus, was 449 yen. I bought the Cafec Titan Flower Dripper. That's 1,200 yen. God, why that Cafec is so much more expensive, I don't know. And then, of course, the Hario Suiren that we looked at yesterday, 2,500 yen. Like, here's the thing. I'm also buying the colored pedals. Like, those are kind of pricey. Like the pedals are like $1,200 for a set of 6 of each color. So if you want to buy, you're and plus $800 for the 2-part base. So definitely 2,500 yen for this is cheaper than putting together your own. So your mileage may vary. Be careful with that. And then I also bought a black Tatsubin kettle, iron kettle for tea brewing, the type that's full iron, not enameled on the inside, because I want to be able to get that softness from the iron into the water. I'm going to play with this, as well as these filters. And that was all a total of $133.38, including shipping. So, it's not necessarily cheaper, but if you're buying a bunch of stuff together, then it's worth it, right? Like if I was just going to buy these two, yeah, you'd be kind of. I don't know how much. Actually, I don't know how much it would cost. I could run a query on Amazon Japan and see what they would charge me, but chances are it wouldn't be as cheap, right? All right, so let's get to it. We've been babbling enough already. Here is our trusty. What do you call this? Our trusty Um, Baratza Virtuoso. And Kieran says you can get a Mugen switch. Ooh, there's a Mugen switch. I'm going to have to look for that. Mugen switch. Interesting. Interesting. All right, so let's grind. We're going to stick with the same grind we're doing yesterday, which has been so far pretty good for our porter brewing. Now, I am using the amount that I would use for a 4-cup brewer. Right, so so typically we use 24 grams to make 350 milliliters of coffee with a larger number 4 filter and brewer. This is a number 2, and this is a number 2, and this is probably it's going to be a lot. However, since it is a pour through kind of brewing method, I don't really worry too much about it. Like, we don't. And the reality of it is, when we're brewing with these devices, we're not really filling this thing all the way up. We're really filling it to, like, right about there anyway. So right about the top, where this will be the amount of coffee that we typically will brew. So I don't think it's, oh, that's what I'm missing. Darn it. I left I don't have the other kettle is upstairs. Oh, well, we'll just have to use something else. Kenny says there is a Pegasus number 4. Yeah, you're right. There is a Pegasus number 4. I just didn't buy it. I don't know if it was a question of I just decided not to buy it, or I just wasn't paying that close attention. I was like, well, there's Pegasus. Let me click that. I think it was really because I'm buying the Sweetren. And I was like, well, let me buy some other stuff, because why am I going to spend all this money on whatever it's going to cost me on shipping? Let me just buy a bunch of other stuff. So I tossed it in there. Maybe I got it because I like the smaller size, or I don't know. I don't know. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this as our little kettle. Hopefully that won't explode. It shouldn't explode because it is a canning jar. And let's get our Pegasus. Oh, let's prepare the Pegasus filter first. So as you can see here, paper coffee filter number 2, paper coffee filter number 2, trapezoid. And on the back, we've got some instructions on how to use. We don't need that because we are professionals here. And as you know, professionals don't actually read instructions. We just kind of go with it because we think we know what we're doing. And 7 times out of 10, it works. The other 3, we just kind of have to wing it. All right, so as you can see here, let's look at the coaster filter. It's got some texture to it. You can see the texture, kind of striations this way, very similar to other Hario. And it's got the crimping, which will probably have to. It's got a slight cut here. I don't know if you can see that. See the slight cut? So it allows you to take your finger, push it, and separate and get in on that, right? Some have a bigger tab. This one just kind of like this. And then let's put it in here. Let's just open it up and see if it'll shove in. See, this is what I don't like. Like, it gets all kind of hemajang like this. I just like that's why I want to fold it. I want to fold it and make it pretty. Okay, fold and make it pretty. Fold and make it pretty. Okay, there we go. Boom. Now it's sitting in there. We're good to go. Let's get our coffee. 24 grams. Put that in there. Oh, got some nice aromas. George says, I'm all in on the little Pegasus. Yeah, the little Pegasus, isn't that nice? It's such a cute little brewer here. And as you can see, the coffee, even at full size, it doesn't fill the entire brewer. And you can kind of see here in the light how far up it really does come, only to the number, just under the number 2 line. All right, so let's put this here. We'll put that there. Okay, good. That's our brewing setup. Let me clear this out a little bit so that it's not so crowded. Okay, now we've got our brewing going on here. Now let me reheat the water just in case. Make sure it's nice and hot. We got our Hario Bono kettle, because we want all Hario going on here. All Hario all the time. Hands feeling a little bit numb for some reason. Hopefully that's not a heart attack oncoming. That would be, maybe that would give for a viral video. Maybe our timer. Keone says, I really like the Pegasus brewers. I have both the number 2 and number 4. And oh, nice. Any advice? I tend to approach most pour over brewing relatively the same. I just want to keep the bed of coffee wet as much as possible, as consistently as possible, and hopefully get we're targeting a 3.5 to 4 minute brew time. Now, I am interested to see more. Like I think it was Dan that was talking about checking out Tetsuya's video. I haven't checked it out. Sorry, I've been a little bit preoccupied with some other things at the moment, but I will, because he was talking about how Tetsuya's thing is about the water. I did see a little bit of Tetsuya's video on the Suiren that he made about 3 months ago. There's really not much videos about Suiren on YouTube. So we're the first, at least in English language, or not the first, but close. All right, let's go. Oh, we need to reset our time, our scale, whatever scale. This is, I'm gonna turn this a little bit more so you can see better. Okay, good. And then here we go. Is that better? That's not better. This way is better, right? Okay, so 26 grams. Now we're starting to get it to flow out of the filter. I had never really thought about it till we started talking more about it on this show, about the equilibrium point for the coffee to start to fall, for to flow out of the coffee bed. George says, is that jumbo canning jar warmed? Otherwise, it won't suck the heat from your water. Oh, it probably will suck a little bit out of it. I don't really worry so much about that. I don't necessarily want the coffee that I'm drinking to be totally like blazingly hot. Like the key part is that it's cooling, or it's trying to hold temperature in the brew section. After it's fallen, I don't tend to worry. But now in a cafe setting, when we're serving guests, I do tend, that's when I will worry more about it. Mainly because we want to give the guest as long a hot experience as possible, right? Is that necessarily because the quality is better, or because it's a perception thing? I think it's probably more of a perception thing, right? Like if you go someplace and you got a coffee served to you and it wasn't as hot as it could be, like it's a little bit disappointing, right? Like I would be dead, like, well, how come my coffee's not so cold? Like if I'm getting cold brew, it's different, but if I'm getting a hot beverage, I want it to be at an appropriate temperature. And this thing, it is at room temperature, and that's going to pull the serving temperature down a little bit without a doubt. So 2 minutes, I need to go a little bit faster, 181 grams. Actually, it's brewing fairly well today. So I tend not to worry too much about that for my own drinking, but for drinking with, for guests, that is definitely something we take care of, as far as like preheating all of the ceramic where we're serving it in. Keone says, not really. You're pretty much the same. Yes, pretty much the same recipes. The nice thing is the little window on the base allows you to see the coffee as it goes. Oh yeah, that is very nice. That is very nice. And it is a fast brewer. Oh, interesting. All right, so 241. We are 241 minutes, 2 minutes 41 seconds. So we are falling behind. We are falling behind. Actually, I'm falling behind. Let's go faster. 250, 275. 291. We want to be at 3 minutes and 300 grams. So there, we're kind of there. Oh, it is kind of blowing fast through that. Like, perhaps I should have gone with a maybe finer grind. Surprisingly, with the two smaller orifices, that it's a faster brewer. All right, there we 350, 336. We're going to let that finish out. George says, in contrast to your usual little carafe, I thought it would allow rapid heat. That it could. I mean, there is definitely more. I'm going to presume, like you're probably presuming that there's more mass to this glass jar that would cause it to cool down. So for sure. All right, let's have a look here. We're pretty much done. 4 minutes. Just kind of take that out. All right, like that. Toss that in the trash, and then take that to the sink. We're going to rinse that out. All right, let's look here to the. Now I may have forgotten the carafe, but I haven't forgotten the glass. So is it too hot? Is it too cold? It's still fairly hot. Like I wouldn't, like I can hold. I'm not comfortable to hold it for very long. Let's have a look at the elixir. A fairly good clarity. George says faster brewing might be ideal if you're using this as a travel tool. Oh yeah, for sure. That could definitely be a positive thing. All right, let's see how the coffee does. So some people always ask, like, I see questions either on my feed or in different forums I participate, like, well, what's the best brewer? There's no best brewer. The best brewer is whatever you have to make the coffee. Really, what makes, to me at least, what makes the big difference is the coffee itself. Like, what coffee you're using, because like every coffee is kind of different, and then every brew method. Like if you were to take a brew method in its purest form, right? Let's say there's switch, there is pour over, so the immersion filtered, and then pour over, and then I don't know how you consider. This is just considered pour over, right? We've got all Hario stuff here, but all these different methods, AeroPress. I see them all as different tools for preparing coffee. Like, what I mean by that is, to me, it's really about, like, it's like cooking. Like, if I have a chicken, there's many ways I can prepare it. Like last night, yesterday for lunch, I made a fried chicken, Zippy's style fried chicken. I got the Zippy's powder mix from Zippy's themselves, and every once in a while I'll coat it and deep fry it. So Zippy's, that I can deep fry, or if I roast it or boil it, like Hainan style chicken. Does it change the fact that it tastes like chicken? No, it doesn't make it taste like beef. It doesn't make it taste like lamb. It still has that chicken flavor. It's just a different way of enjoying the chicken. And I think that that's the truth for brew methods. Each brew method has a different approach to brewing the coffee and slightly different results. But it's not going to make a red bourbon from from El Salvador into a geisha from Panama. It's not going to do that, right? It's not going to make an excelso into Arabica. It's not going to make a wash into a natural. It's just going to present the coffee slightly different. And I think it's really more about finding what you like, right? And maybe you have a bunch of your brew methods because you don't always want to have fried chicken, right? Like fried chicken, love fried chicken, right? I had fried chicken twice already this week or in the last few days. Actually, I've had it. Oh, I had it twice on Saturday. I had chicken katsu curry at L&L Barbecue in Annandale, Virginia, and then that evening I did have Royal Farms chicken here in Baltimore. But you like, maybe you might like fried chicken, but you don't want to have it all the time. Like if the only chicken you had was rofo or was fried chicken, you get a little bit tired of fried chicken, right? So like it's kind of one of those things where, like, no matter how much I may love the bee house, if all I had was bee house every day, maybe I can make it tired of it, right? But it's not changing the chicken, right? Or I'm sorry, that's not true. If I only had one coffee, let's say whatever beautiful geisha you might like, if I had that every day, I might get bored of it. I would want to change the way I brew it, perhaps to give me a little more flair. But of course, I want to change coffees completely. Like you won't eat chicken all day, you want to have beef. Okay, maybe these aren't great analogies. I don't know. but nice, nice, nice. It works well. The brew is nice. This again is the the Milfaco from Southern Philippines. It's a little bit softer than what I remember from yesterday, but actually quite enjoyable. All right, I got some things that I wanted to share with you just while we have a little bit of time. Something you might want to consider for yourselves. Back in April, when we were doing my traveling, I went to Las Vegas to the National Association of Broadcasters show, and I ran across. And so I ran across this company called Sellens, and Sellens is a Chinese company. Here's the thing: like the Chinese companies, they can make some products at super like affordable prices, like crazy pricing. Like I'm just like, oh my gosh, man, how is this even possible? And one of the things that I liked about this company, Sellens, is that they make what we call grip gear, and grip gear is a whole world unto itself for it's equipment and products that are really geared towards production, tools and items for production. And the world of television movie production has, like any industry, has its own little niche world of tools and tooling that are very specific, that are designed for the very specific needs of the industry. And this place had like crazy, crazy prices. And I was like, oh my gosh, I ordered a whole bunch of stuff. And I thought I'd just share it with you here today. Since we got a little time while we're drinking some coffee, in case you're interested. If you're not interested, then I apologize. You can click away and I will not be upset. So Sellens, I'm going to show you some of this. This is I think this is the Magic Arm. And I have some ideas for it. And the reason I bought some of these is because I have some ideas for it. Oh, this is the puck. This is a magnetic puck. So what I'm doing is I'm building a rig for my truck, actually for my mom. I asked her if she wanted this, and she's like, yeah. So this is the MagSafe puck, right? So okay, that's pretty good. Let's try that again. So, MagSafe. And what makes the difference between these and other things is that we have in the industry, we have these things called these type of things. And so this is all machined aluminum, anodized, and has 1/4-20 threading, right? And you can see there's 3/4-20 threadings, and then these holes are around it in 4 points. Those are what we call Arri locator pins. And Arri is the German company that makes film camera, motion picture cameras. So Arri does they've created this standard with these locating pins that really allow you to lock down something. I'm not sure what that looks like in just a second. Let me just get this out of the way here. And so that is like $10, but if you buy it from somewhere else, it costs a lot more. What is this now? Okay, yeah, here's the Magic Arm. So it's called Sellens. They're on Amazon. They have the website, and it's like super cheap. That was like $10. This is the Magic Arm, and the Magic Arm is this is a small Magic Arm. Like there are bigger versions of this, and if you buy it from other companies like Condor Blue's of Magic Arm, like $85 or $90. If you buy Arri's Magic Arm, it's way more expensive, like hundreds of dollars. But this is the Magic Arm. Basically what it is that you've got this piece here that screws down, and these balls have a little rubber gasket on them, right? And basically once you screw it down, you can kind of put it in any position that you want. So you just kind of tighten this down. All right. And so this is the Arri locating pin, right? So you got remember the holes, right? The holes here. You put that in, and then you screw it down. Can you see that? How can we see that? Okay, screw it down like this, right? And those pins, these pins that are here on the side of the threaded screw, go into those little holes over here. Sorry, it's not as. They will go in, and now you can't twist it. So you can really torque down on this. And if you want to stick a tool like an Allen wrench into here and really give it a nice snugging down, it will work. And so now this won't spin off because of the locking pins. What else do we have in here? There should be a little, I think this is it. Okay, so so this is where it kind of, I got the cheap one. This is a suction cup, right? And this suction cup is the cheaper one. This is like $10 also. So like, we're talking like 10, 20, maybe $40 for this. So it is $80. But if you were to buy some of these other like MagSafe tool things, it would cost you maybe the similar amount of money, but it definitely would not be as good a quality and as robust. Now I did build a rig like this in Vegas when I was there, which is why I bought more. And so this one, here's the problem with this one, because this one is the cheaper of the suction cups, right? $10. It does not have the locating pins on the top. So I will have to take a drill and drill those in, make a template. But basically, as you can see here, here's where the big difference is with these pins that make the difference. So if I screw this in here as tight as I can, it will still, I can rotate that fully tight, but I can also rotate it loose. So it can loose. Where this one, I cannot rotate that loose. Like, I mean, it's going to rotate on the ball because the ball is getting loose. But it won't rotate out because of the pins. And that's the beauty of this style of thing. So I can now lock that down and set it up on my, oops, probably should lock it in a place where you can see it. So basically lock it down, set it up like this, and then boom, there it is, done. And then if I want to move it, like if this is mounted to my window, I can then mount it however I like, right? And it's got these notches, so you can like, kind of set it however you want to set it. So there it is. So an idea that you might want to look into: magic arms, suction cups, and MagSafe things to mount to your window of the car. And then, like, I like to have it maybe right about there. So I can be driving around and I can see my ways. So yeah, now there are other things if you're interested in that, that they make that are really quite affordable. Like, for example, this is one of the big clamps that we use in motion picture production. It's a really handy thing. It's called originally it was called the Cardellini clamp because it was developed by a guy named Cardellini. And then the grip company Matthews in Studio City, actually in Burbank, bought the rights to it and now created this thing that they call the Mathellini. And this is I think this is the 8-inch Mathellini. And basically, it's a clamp that you kind of like, it's threaded so you can adjust these jaws. And then once you find the proper location for it, like, you can then, clamp down on whatever you want. And then you can attach, this is what we call a baby pin. And then you can attach like lighting or whatever kind of grip thing that you might want to use to it. Now, Sellens does have a version of this that is like this is like over $100 just for this one clamp. So if you want to have a bunch of them, you're like, oh, okay, expensive. Sellens does make something like this, and it was like maybe $30, and I was like, oh, $30 for a Cardellini clamp? That's incredible. But here's the thing about the Cardellini and the Mathellini. Look at that. That's just, I don't know about you guys, but like in my world of being a motion picture technician, this is just sexy. This is sexy and beautiful because look at that. It just spins so beautifully. And if you have it mounted, it's easy to adjust. Like, that's just brilliant. Unfortunately, the finish on the Sellens version is not that good. So it's very crunchy. It's very rough. So you can't just do this Like if you did that, right? Like if you did this, it would stop right about there, and it would go really slowly. It'd be like oh, there's no, like there's something satisfying about this. You're just like, oh, that's just so satisfying. All right. George says, very impressive range of tools. Tools there. I think you say tools there. Quite useful. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of interesting stuff to use in this grip world. Unfortunately, the difficult part with the grip world and this kind of stuff, since it is very niche, it tends to be pretty expensive. But like I said, with the introduction of like Chinese companies like Cellens, like this maybe total, like I said, 10, 10, $40. Is that right? Yeah, $40, maybe 38, 10, 10. Is that right? I don't know, maybe let's say $60. From some companies, you could not even buy this component for $60, or maybe even this component for $60. Like it's incredibly cheap, and the quality is solid. Like I've been using a couple of these rigs for the last like couple of months, and to mount cameras on cars and the phone on cars. Like I don't think any of the videos have made it to release yet, but there's this one where I was shooting. When I first got this, we were in I was driving to Salt Lake City from Vegas, and I used this mount to mount. I used one of these to mount the phone, and I used another mount to mount one of the cameras. And the way that it would mount was it would mount the camera upside down. And man, it worked great. Worked great. I was looking at the footage not too long ago, and I was like, "Whoa, that actually worked pretty well." Not just being something that, yes, absolutely. This is all self-indulgence. Like this. I wish I had more of these. Anyway, that's going to be it for today. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll be back again tomorrow with more finds from Amazon Japan. Tomorrow we've got the, what is it called? We've got the Mugen, the Hario Mugen brewer. I got that. And then after that, we're going to check out the Kefik flour dripper on Thursday. And then on Friday, we're going to wrap things up with what's more Japan stuff by looking at what salarymen will typically eat for their breakfast in the morning in Tokyo. All right. So hope you have a great day. Hope it's a wonderful one for you. Back in tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. And yeah, so hope you have a great one. And I'll see you next time. Thanks, Mom.